Are you wanting to fly an aircraft and do your private pilot's license and are wondering how to do it on a restricted budget? I'm guessing you are because you're watching this video. Well, it's Caleb here from Air 101 and we're gonna talk about it. Now, there are already a lot of videos out there that talk about doing your private pilot's license on a restricted budget, but this video is going to be a little bit different. Some of those videos talk about going to a flight school, and if you buy bulk hours, you could possibly reduce the cost on your pilot's license. Or some of them talk about finding a freelance flight instructor who can do it cheaper. But to be honest, these two methods will save you minimal amount of money if you end up taking a long time to finish your pilot's license. So today I'm going to give you tips and tricks on how to finish your pilot's license as fast as possible so that you can save as much money as possible. Also, if you stay to the end of the video, I'm going to give my final thoughts on how getting a private pilot's license has truly changed my life and how it can change your life as well. Now, I've already had my pilot's license for over 10 years, and I clearly remember the ups and downs of doing my license, as well as there's a couple things that I would possibly do different if I had to do my pilot's license again. Now, I was 19 years old when I did my pilot's license, and I was a little bit naive in going about and getting my license. And I started only flying once a week, which my lessons often got canceled due to weather. So after about 8 to 9 hours of flying, I ended up stopping for about 9 months. Then what happened is this: I ended up getting an email from the owner of the flight school, and he said that he enjoyed having me train at that flight school, but maybe getting my license wasn't going to happen for me. To be honest, this made me so mad, but at the same time, it motivated me to go back to the flight school, and I ended up finishing my pilot's license in a total of 49 hours, and it took me roughly 2.5 months. By finishing my license in 49 hours instead of 60 to 80 hours, it saved me a massive amount of money. Now, let's say that you did your license in 45 hours and you look on one of the websites and they give you the best price possible, saying if you finish it within these requirements that you'll only have to pay this amount of money. Now, let's say that you end up doing your license in 45 hours. In Canada, it says that it will cost you roughly $13,000 to $14,000 depending on the flight school. But if you ended up needing to do 80 hours of total training, it could possibly cost you an additional $6,500 to $9,000. So the question is, how can you end up finishing your pilot's license as fast as possible, even as short as a period of 2.5 to 3 months? Well, these next 6 steps will help you finish your pilot's license as fast as possible while being on a restricted budget. Number 1, get your required documents done early. Get your medical done, radio operator's license, and prepare for the PSTAR exam for your student pilot permit, all before you start your flight training. These things take time to get done. For example, when I went and did my medical, they wanted me to go to another doctor to get one thing checked out, which ended up taking an extra week. For my radio license, I had to wait a couple extra weeks for the flight school to actually put on the radio operator's license course and do the test for me. All of these things ended up slowing me down a little bit. So do these things early on so you don't have to delay your flight training. Number 2, talk to different flight instructors. Before you start your flight training, talk to a couple of different flight instructors. For the most part, the majority of flight instructors are usually really good, but I personally had to switch from my first 2 flight instructors to another flight instructor because my personality didn't really match with theirs, as well as with my learning style. This can be a really big deal and slow down your progress, as well as take away joy from doing your private pilot's license. So make sure that you find the right flight instructor. Also, be upfront with the flight instructor. Tell them that you want to finish your license as quick as possible and that you're fully devoted to doing it. By telling them this, it will help them keep on track with helping you do your license as fast as possible. And then I also recommend that you remind them to give you ahead of time what each lesson will be about and what you will end up doing so that you can fully prepare for it. Once I got a flight instructor that worked well with my personality, it gave me the confidence I needed in my flight skills and went a long way with helping me complete my pilot's license. Number 3, book more lessons. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see, is students not booking enough lessons ahead of time. I mean, even book your lessons up to 2 to 3 months in advance. If you plan on doing your pilot's license in just 3 months, why don't you book the whole thing from the beginning? To be honest, you'll probably will have to cancel 30 to 50% of your lessons due to rain or bad weather, especially at the beginning. Later on in your pilot's license, you probably won't have to cancel as many flights. Also, you may even at the beginning of your license cancel lessons just because it is too windy. Flying in normal winds for a pilot who has hundreds of hours is not the same as a student pilot who has just started their flight training. So sometimes a flight instructor will cancel a lesson depending on how far into your pilot's license you are. So if you can do 3, 4, or maybe even 5 lessons a week, this will really help you out. Well, you may wonder though, how can you do this if you have to work full time or you have a family, etc.? Well, I always say this: if you want something done, give it to a busy person. I know, it will be a busy couple of months, but the quicker you're done, the faster you'll be able to take your family up on trips without having your flight instructor sitting right next to you. At the time that I did my license, I was working full time. So sometimes I had to fly before work, or sometimes I flew after work, or sometimes I flew before work and after work. And to top it off, I was just married. First off, I just want to say sorry to my wife for what I put you through. And yes, 10 years later, I still am married. And second, by flying all the time, it helped me finish my license as fast as possible. Now, number 4, if you want to finish your pilot's license really, really fast, then what you need to do is give this video a big thumbs up. I'm not totally sure how it's going to help you out, but it just will. And thanks for the support. Number 5, practice all the time. What do I mean by this? Well, if you drive all the way to the flight school and the weather craps out, then ask the school if you can sit in the aircraft and practice all the checklists in the aircraft. Obviously, don't actually start the aircraft, but I personally did this and it helped me reduce the amount of time I was on the ground for each flight, and it ended up saving me a lot of money. Also, when you drive to the flight school or are going home, listen to podcasts about flying or practice your checklist in the car. Do your circuits in the car, etc. Full power, gauges are green, airspeed is alive, rotate. Do your downwind checks. Primer, master, mag, circuit breakers, carb hot, mixture rich, etc. I remember doing this over and over again on my way home from the airport. Also, while you're in the car, practice your radio calls. Pit Tower, this is Cessna 150 Golf Whiskey Juliet Charlie in the parking lot requesting taxi instructions to drive home with information Bravo. All of these things help me out. And I know if you do these things as well, they will help you out too. I know I may sound crazy talking to myself, but I really wanted to try and save money on my private pilot's license. Number 6, record your flights. Record with maybe a GoPro and a mic adapter for the headset and review them. Or watch YouTube channels like Late Departure who recorded their whole PPL. This will help keep things fresh in your mind. When I did my commercial pilot's license, that's all I did. When I drove or when I did chores at home, I listened to the whole Harv's Air Ground School course. Also, if you record your flights, it will give you great memories for later on so that you can show to your kids or family about doing your pilot's license. If you follow these 6 steps, it will help you finish your pilot's license closer to the 45 to 50 hour mark and will really help you out if you're on a restricted budget. Now, I'm glad that you made it to this part of the video because I really wanted to talk to you about how doing my private pilot's license changed my life and how it can change yours as well. First off, you get to see the whole world from a different perspective, from the sky, which majority of people will never have the opportunity to do. You will get to do your first solo and take off in an aircraft and land an aircraft all by yourself. You will get to do your first spins, stalls, slow flight, and see what an aircraft can really do. You will get to do your short cross country and your long cross country. And by the time that you finish these things, at this point you will realize that you are almost actually a real pilot minus the flight test. That first flight for me after I finished my private pilot's license, I was extremely nervous, but it was one of the most amazing things that's ever happened to me. Now, because I finished my private pilot's license, I've had the opportunity to fly from beautiful British Columbia all the way to northern Saskatchewan and northern Manitoba. I got to fly over the beautiful mountains and see all the amazing scenery. I've got to fly different aircraft such as a Cessna 150, 152, 172, a Mooney, a Comanche, a Cirrus SR-20, 22, an L-29 Delphin jet, and even a Cirrus Vision jet. I've got to see Canada from the sky and see how truly beautiful it is. Unfortunately, I had a friend that passed away with cancer, but before he passed away, he asked me if I could take him up with his 2 kids for a flight so that they could do one last thing together. He absolutely loved that flight, and so did I, and it was extremely, extremely special to me. I've had the opportunity also to meet other pilots over the years and hear about all the wonderful flying experiences that they've had. And it has also helped me in my career as an aviation insurance broker so that I can help other pilots get insurance for their aircraft so that they can experience the same thing as me. flying an aircraft with family, friends, and other pilots, and have the dream of flying become a reality. All of these things happened because I buckled down and finished my private pilot's license. Now, if you're still watching this video, I really hope that you go and finish your pilot's license because you will not regret doing it. I really hope that you learned something today and that you enjoyed this video. Now, if you want to know what it's like to fly a Cirrus Vision jet, then you should watch this video right here. Stay safe. Have fun doing your private pilot's license, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.